And welcome everybody to Nothing But Ramblings episode. I'm going to go with 9 or 10 or something like that. But we're the second last week in October. So Halloween's next week. Dragon Age is next week. It's all exciting stuff coming up. We are honestly very close to Christmas. We are 2 months away exactly right now, 25th of October. I think that's how math works. But I'm Peter Wilkinson, and I'm here to chat about mental health. The last episode was a fairly somber one, and I haven't really created much content since. It's been mentally and physically, I've been fairly exhausted the last 7 days, especially since my great results in the Thursday night race, and then backing it up with the broadcast on Friday night about it. Mentally, sort of got overrun. And look, there's family stuff in the background, as I talked about the other week. Still, it's sort of resolved itself, but there's a lingering mental catch up there somewhere, and I'm in a far better place than I was when I recorded the last podcast. But still, just trying to slowly get myself back out of it. It's not a quick thing. And it hasn't helped. Work has been an absolute nightmare. This last probably 10 days, we're doing way higher numbers than we should be at work, which is putting the pressure back on me, and putting obviously money pressures back on, which I will get back. So it's not a huge issue. I'm feeling a lot more confident than what I did a month ago, and just because I've got to get it through this next 6 weeks. 8 weeks, and we should be right. And it's January 6th is that goal, and we can get to there. We should be good, but it's been hard, and I haven't created any content. Like I said, no stream since last Thursday. This is being recorded on Friday, so we've been over a week since the stream. I've almost done it a couple of times. I tried to get some MechWarrior in to do that, which I'll talk about some MechWarrior later on. But yeah, it's just been, I just haven't felt right in the head, and there's a few times when I've actually felt not dizzy but lightheaded, I guess. I'm not eating the best at the moment. I've gone down a rabbit hole of that. I haven't put on any weight, but I'm definitely not eating what I should be eating. I had my first coffee today in probably about a week, which is, I was going to pass out this morning after I woke up. I just didn't get a good sleep last night. We had storms roll through, woke me up in the middle of the night. We didn't get in until late. We had my daughter's presentation night, which was really good. I will talk about that in a second because it is something I do want to talk about. A lot of other mental things going on in my head. Like I said, I want to do a cancer/skin cancer chat. What happened with me, a bit of a breakdown of that in a couple episodes time, but a few things out of that where I've got a little bit of pain in my nose, and it's one of those things of might just be the dry air or the heat at the moment, but when you've had skin cancer in the nose and they didn't quite get it all, they had to radiate the rest of it. It's in that window of 2 years where it can come back, and if it does, then it's not good. But when you get a bit of pain in the nose around the area, obviously your head's talking about feeling like just goes that over the top. Constantly thinking about that, which is exhausting. There won't be an issue. The pain's actually gone away today, so it's not like it's growing and getting worse. And it didn't physically look different, but there was just a pain there. And whenever you get a pain around where you've had cancer before, I can tell you what, it does your head in. So just been that and dealing with a few other things at the moment. So work seems to be going smoothly, but we had a bit of a rough patch last week, especially when I had a few people off in a row and then battling with my bosses because they're being stupid again and getting my ground at least this time, which wasn't something I used to do in the past very well. But not only standing my ground, but asking questions, which I wouldn't have done before. I'd just either ignore it or deal with or do it and just put up with it. But a very different mindset at the moment about that kind of stuff, which is really good. And traveling around, making sure my staff are good. We did our big cook up last weekend, which was really good fun. Got everyone around for a bit of a pre-peak period relaxation time. We had about cooked for about 16 people, and got the smoker out. Caught the smoker on fire, which was my bad. But mid-cook, that's not the best way to keep it going. But none of the food was affected. I got on top of it pretty quickly. Used the oven to keep stuff going, and then cleaned everything out and started the smoker up again and moved on, and came out really good. We had brisket, came out really good this time. It's been fine, but this time had a bit more fat to it, and I was a bit concerned about it, but it came out really nice. So that was good. We did a good mac and cheese, and the lamb shanks, which I haven't done for probably 2 years now. Almost 2 years. I think it was Christmas a couple ago. The lamb shanks came out really good. So there's a few things I want to do different next time, but the smoke up came out really good. We did drumsticks, we did chicken wings, we did chicken tenders out of thighs, and I had someone who doesn't do pork, so we steered clear of all pork. We also did some French potato chips, like crisps, in the oven. I did that with sweet potatoes and potato and beetroot. Didn't work out the best, but they got eaten and people said they really enjoyed it. Did some eggplant steaks, which came up really nicely. And the dampers were the main part. Everyone really loved the dampers. I haven't done them in ages, so they came up really good. But that drained me. That was 36 hours of prepping and cooking and all kinds of stuff. And when you spend that much on meat and things have to go right on 1 o'clock was when everything had to be ready for. So I ended up doing, I hadn't done this before. I usually wake up like 4 or 5 o'clock and start the brisket then for a 6 o'clock feed. But because we had the 1 o'clock, I end up 10:30 at night. I put it on and I cooked it overnight, and just hit the temperatures, and it came out really good. So I'll probably do that again, to be honest. It came out really nice. But yeah, look, it's I can't really put a finger on what has been going on, but my head hasn't felt right, and I haven't done any content at all. Like, shorts dried up, and it's there. I've got some that are quick and easy to do and spit out, but I just don't know what it is right now. The motivation's not there for a lot of things at the moment, and it's probably my diet hasn't helped things, but busy with work. So that's my excuse right now, and it is probably an excuse I shouldn't rely on. And I almost didn't even record this podcast. There was a point where I'm like, I'm just going to go sit on the lounge for the day, and I'm just going to play something. I've got Dragon's Dogma 2 there. I could come on and I was going to play some Fortnite on here, because it's getting towards the end of the season. I haven't done enough of the Battle Pass yet. I'm like, maybe I stream it, maybe I don't. I can easily not. I just want to have some fun and relax and not have to content it up. But I didn't. I watched one little TikTok which was about the hourglass sand. The sands of the hourglass are always pouring, no matter what happened. That sand is always going to flow. So if you get to the end of your days, you can't look back on those regrets and go, oh, gee, they were really great. But you can look back on the times when you weren't going to do something and you decided to do something, and maybe it became great, and that was the thing that changed everything. So the very perfect thing to catch just before I went one way or the other has sent me to creating a video for you guys. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, Eddie Panero. It was really, really good timing. So, but yeah, look, we had our daughter's presentation last night, which was really good. She got award for team builder, which is a pretty proud moment, I guess. So, person who's always there to help other people, person who is trying to get everyone to be together. So, including everyone, helping everyone out, just being there to lighten the mood when needed, been able to get on well with everyone, which, if anything she was ever going to get, that is the thing. She got the similar thing in year 6 for the end of year. Got the award for being able to help everyone and be there for everyone kind of award that a handful of people got, which was really good. And yeah, it's sort of building her up to. She's only early into, like, 2 years into this 6-year horse program at the school, and I think she's on the path that she needs to be one of the leaders of the thing by the time she gets to that sort of 5th and 6th year, and she doesn't seem to be wavering it. So, um, really good to see, and yeah, I'm glad that that's the path she's taking as far as looking after everyone, and I guess I'm doing something right, which is after last week's episode, a bit of a vote of confidence and a part I need to take out of it. So, yeah, it's good to see, and we need more people like that, and that's what this program that they're doing is really, really good at bringing out in these kids. So, it's 30, 40 kids are showing horses very competitively with each other, and they're their main competitors, but they all seem to get in and celebrate everyone else's wins and help people out when they don't sort of have the best weeks when they do it. So, yeah, it's good, and we don't have to do it again for another 6 months, so I get a bit of a break from that, which is really good. So, yeah, but it's an interesting little thing, and like I said, it's just a bit of a follow-up from last week's episode, showing that there are other sides and things do go okay, I guess. It's not just always a problem. So, yeah, it's been different and been good to see things like that, and yeah, having a bit more of a chat with my son when things go wrong and trying to understand where he's at and stuff like that's been really, really a focus for the last week as I try and be better. I guess that's the main part of it. But yeah, so that brings me to what I've been playing or trying to play for the last week. Yeah, that's it. We got MechWarrior 5 Clans out late mid last week. It launched, and I started my content creation journey at with Armed, the Australasian Royal Mechanized Division, which was a group that had formed around MechWarrior Online. Still got members of that in the community now from like 12 years ago, I believe. It's an old little game, so it's good to have, if you're out there listening to this, Axe out there and Cal's out there and Mike Coraliff's out there, and people still, frequent the thing from back when I was doing MechWarrior Online, where I started streaming and podcasting, actually. So both of them came out of Armed, and especially, working with Cal, doing a lot of stuff with that. So it's good to have, and we had Mercenaries come out 3 years ago, it's all based around Piranha, who make MechWarrior Online. They've had the license for MechWarrior off Microsoft for a while now, for over a decade now. And online was really good, but Burnout had some issues happen with Armed itself, and sort of had to walk away before I mentally just lost it and told some people what I thought of them. And most of the crew were really good, but people weren't happy with the way things were being run, as all online communities get, especially when they got to, we had about 100 and something active members in that group for a while there, and we're planning the way things were going. We were definitely one of the biggest in Australia, so we were going really well. Our podcast almost got picked up by the leading podcast on the brand. They were going to have it as an offshoot, a second one, a bit of a different version out of Australia. They were going to help us and give us mics and get us sorted and make it a thing. And then sort of everything fell apart and burn out, and we sort of walked away. And then they brought out Mercenaries, and I bought it, and I went to play it, and I didn't feel right. I didn't feel good playing it at the time. This was 3 years ago, so I was in a different place. And Mercenaries was MechWarrior 2 was Mercenaries was the one I first started on, and it was gold. It was so good. It's one of the best campaigns I've ever played as far as gaming goes. It's what I really wanted about the mech, where especially once I did back in the day, I told this story a few times on different podcasts, but I dragged my PC into my local ISP where they were based, and I brought the PC in because there was a patch for MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries that I wanted, and it fixed all the salvage issues and made salvage way better. So when you actually killed stuff properly, you could salvage it. So the mechs and the parts and stuff like that, that wasn't part of the original game when they dropped it. We've got the disc in the thing there. It's one of the ones I keep on display. But 32 megabytes. It was too big for me to download over dial-up, which is nuts. And we didn't have, like, it was too big for a floppy, too big for anything like that. So I grabbed the PC and took it to the ISP, gave it to them for like 2 days. It failed a couple of times because it was so big, and they finally got it downloaded onto my PC, and it made the game infinitely better, like night and day. So I started again, and I did a full campaign on MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries. I think I got to the last mission, and I never quite got there because it was so hard, and you had to have everything right. But I'd built a mech that I was one-shotting things from across the map. So as soon as they'd come into radar range, I'd made my radar range as big as I could. I had one of the Tomahawk style. Might have been a Tomahawk or something like that. It was a lock-on rocket that you would shoot out of your chest at a K, and it would just heat seek into them. So you'd have 2 or 3 mechs coming at you, and as soon as they come on radar, you had to take out one, because this thing was so big you could only carry one missile with you, otherwise you went over your tonnage limit. So then take out the biggest of the mechs on the way over. Makes the battle way easier when they can only come to you. So did that, and really enjoyed that game to the point of it's a core memory, and it's one of those games that stuck with me forever. Means so much to me. So then MechWarrior 4 comes out from Microsoft. I skipped 3. Doesn't really sit. Mech Commander's really good. I get right into that, but it's in that period then of not really playing a lot of games. It's after school. I'm focusing on a few other things. I've got, women have come into my life, or girls have come into my life at that stage, so I'm not really playing as much. And there was a whole period there where I lost a lot of gaming time that I just didn't pay any attention to things. So 3, 4 I missed, and then the series went dead for ages. And I'm like, never got into the BattleTech side of things, like the actual miniatures and stuff like that. Never really did that. But the MechWarrior PC versions were really good. Got into. There was an Xbox game that came out that was mechs. It was really good. It was a PvP game, and only. Keep on saying it wasn't Armored Core, because that's definitely not it. It was Chrome Assault. That's it. Really got into that. This is back when Xbox was starting to really go online, so it was really good fun. Disappeared. Never saw it again. And then find out that MechWarrior Online's a thing, and I've just moved back down to where I am now. So I'm of that age where I've no children, disposable income, disposable time. I'm engaged at the time, which didn't happen. That fell through. But at this stage, I'd never got into online communities or anything like that, and played a little bit of Guild Wars and randomly ran with a few people every now and then, but never in voice or anything like that. Just found the same people and ran with them and type chat to them. But this was different. This was MechWarrior Online. I got in. I learnt TeamSpeak and downloaded TeamSpeak and found this crew that were running around, and sort of shyly joined them and didn't know what I was doing, and started playing, and then rose through the ranks and became one of the main people there, and wrote documents on things like that. And then was sort of Star Citizen was just starting to become a thing. Remember when that was a Kickstarter? And the crew were going to go across to that, and we started doing documents about that and planning for that. We did a podcast for Star Citizen for a couple episodes back in the day, and things were going along. We were organising tournaments between ourselves and other clans and units and stuff like that, and getting right into the other podcast, which is No Guts, No Galaxy. Yeah, No Guts, No Galaxy. Those boys getting right into their podcast and helping out with them a lot. I was actually in the beta crew, a secret squirrel, the squirrel unit, I think it was, which Piranha had put together. A handful, about 16 people who played MechWarrior Online that were there to test out things randomly. So before they did drop patches, they'd get us together and we'd sit there, and some of the best players in the world, and I'm sitting there not being one of the best players in the world, but I was active on the forums and giving solid feedback and solid thoughts on things and helping out. So they picked me out and said, hey, be part of our crew, and that was really special. That was really good. And running around with them, helping them out as much as I could, and doing tests and testing the new stuff, not being able to tell anyone. So that was really cool. And yeah, like I said, just running around with the same crew all the time, and then the infighting as we got big, and people wanting things to go in certain directions, and the leadership not wanting to take it in those directions, and people thinking the leadership weren't putting in enough effort, and then basically mutiny, lies being thrown around, and all kinds of chaos became a thing, and sort of, yeah, I had a moment where I said, this is just not for me. I just can't do this anymore, and walked away. About the same time, I think I jumped into Destiny after that, because then online communities was a thing. That's I was happy to play with random people around the world and become friends with them. That all came out of MechWarrior Online. So that was interesting. And like I said, didn't get into Mercenaries 4 or 5, which is weird because 2 was my favorite game. But Clans come out this week, and I played a little bit on this PC over here, mouse and keyboard, and realised I've forgotten how to pilot a mech altogether. I just don't know how to do it. And we got there, I was understanding it, was enjoying it. The game looks good, but I'm like, I just want to be playing this with a joystick. And I've got a sim rig behind me. It's not hard to set it up. So I tried to do that, and then that's where everything fell apart for MechWarrior on 5 Clans, and Unreal 5 engine apparently doesn't play well with joysticks, and they know that. So they've there's a disclaimer in the joystick section where you're going to do your mapping. If you want to do this, you need to go to your HOTAS remapping file in your save file and edit it there. Please follow instructions through website, kind of thing. And that's, I've Googled it and I found the thing. So you've got to actually download specific. You've got to basically create write code for your joystick, and people out there have done it for each different one out there, but it took ages for me to set up, and then things weren't inverting properly, buttons were missing. One joystick was working really well, but I run 2 joysticks, so it's hand on stick and stick, not HOTAS, it's HOSAS, and that was causing problems because they needed to be renamed throttle and joystick. Throttle was a problem because the axis weren't inverting properly, so I was having to pull back on one stick instead of going forward. It was really good when it worked, but then I'd change a few things and it would lose all settings. Okay, so I've got to redo it all again. Do it all again, get it at a good point, and then I change one thing, lose all settings. I just got frustrated and stopped doing it. And then I went, okay, well, I'm going to download MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries on my Steam Deck because I'm enjoying clans, but I was never a clan person. I was always a mercenary person, which in the world of MechWarrior means I'm just a gun for hire. Clans are you're doing a storyline and you're doing it for them. That's it. And in clans itself, I'm not salvaging things. Like it's just a point system, and you can pick where you want to do it. And I'm like, I don't like this. I want that merc life of I've just nailed this kill, so that means that mech I can now salvage and strip and sell, or I can use for parts, or I can chuck a pilot, fix it up, chuck a pilot in it, and away we go. I wanted that gameplay, but Clans wasn't giving it to me. Clans was good. It's got RPG elements and stuff like that with pilots. It's got a good story. I'm enjoying all that kind of stuff, but I wanted the Mercenaries life, not the Clan life or the Inner Sphere life, anything like that. I wanted the Merc life. So I played Mercenaries on Steam Deck. I'm pointing to it like you can see me pointing to it, but it's on my Steam Deck right next to my hand here. And whilst the controller's not the best to play MechWarrior on, and the size of the screen is not the best to play MechWarrior on, it was fine. It worked. And my mechs were getting shredded, so we had to do a lot of work to fix it up. I wasn't out of the system yet, so I was really early on. I was only about two or three contracts in. And that's what I liked about Mercenaries is pick our contract and go to a different place and get a team together for that specific contract. And if you stuffed up the contract, you need to get out and you lose a lot of stuff, but you can come back from it. It's not like missions, just basically do the missions over and over again until you get it right, which is the gameplay I really enjoyed. And was enjoying that with the deck. Well, okay, cool. So Clans isn't working for me. I got past the mission that I'd been stuck on. Had to Google a few things to understand what I was doing wrong, but I got past that mission in Clans and I went, let's see if I can get Mercenaries working on the rig. I've heard the controller settings are even worse on Mercenaries, but I'm happy to give it a go. So I did that. Dropped into a mission, forgetting that with cloud saves where I was. And like I said, if you abort a mission, you abort a mission, you don't go back and do it again. You can't reset stuff and go again as soon as you abort. And I dropped into my dropship with a mech that wasn't repaired. I had a perfectly good Centurion that was repaired and ready to go, and I'd forgot to put my pilot into that, and I was still in the one that was on one leg, one arm, and no armor on the center console, and it wasn't going to work, and I could not get out of that loop. I was already on the ground. I had to abort the mission. I couldn't test the joysticks because the thing wasn't working properly anyway. It had no systems working and like a machine gun. That was it. And I'm like, no. So I'm deleting save files, but because it's on the cloud, it's all across the thing. Like I can't get it to not get this. And I'm trying to look up save file editors and stuff like that or anything along those lines. And I just got to the point where I said, I'm done. This is taking me way too much work. I lost probably 3 or 4 hours trying to get the joystick working in Clans, get to the point where Clans was right, try and get Mercenaries working, and then stuffed up the save file, which means I'm just going to have to wipe and start again. And losing all that progression and time, I just went, this is it. I can't do this to myself until I get myself into a better headspace right now. And so yeah, I haven't played it since. I do want to go back. I think I'll enjoy Mercenaries probably more than Clans, but Clans has a good story. So it's had a few bugs, had a few crashes, and doesn't quite. The joysticks just don't work as well as I'd like them to. So we might end up just mouse and keyboarding it for a bit. Do some streams with that or some content around that, but it might be my way to break out. And the few people I've already got have offered to run with me because they're still in the community. So we'll see how that goes. But it looks good. Story's great. So far anyway, they're really doing the voice acting and the cutscenes really well. Seems like it's got a pretty good story to it. I'm interested to see where it goes. But like I said, I want that Merc life. So we'll see which one I go with down the track. But for the moment, I've installed War Thunder over on the main rig. I've got Fortnite calling my name here. We've got Dragon Age next week. Got Dragon's Dogma 2 on the PlayStation. There's plenty of options for me, but I'm probably got too many options at the moment. I get that decision paralysis, and I don't want to do one because I'm going to miss out on doing the other and just end up doing nothing, which is not the way to go. But we've recorded the podcast on it. You'll find out next episode what I decided on. But for now, if you're struggling out there, talk to someone. Talk to yourself. Talk to whatever you need to do. Just seek some kind of help and try and get better. Just remember you've got this far. that's the main thing. You've beaten all the battles to here, and you can do it. I believe in you. And if you don't believe in yourself, just know that I believe in you. And yeah, hit me up if you want anything. Lockedonlads@gmail.com is the current email address that will be free going forward, so I can keep it. Where the other one I'm going to have to pay for, so I've got to decide either get money for it from somewhere or just let it go. But hit me up on Discord and anything like that. And yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for the comments. It's probably my least watched video series, but it is the most active in comments. So thank you, everyone. But until next week, which hopefully I've got some, maybe not have some Dragon Age thoughts. I'll have some kind of thoughts for you, but like I said, we'll run through a few things. But thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And yeah, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.